I want to quickly talk to you about how to lock your credit with all three bureaus. The thing is, sometimes you might want to try to really lock your credit with one bureau, and in some cases, it just really makes sense to just try the what we call the trifecta. So, into this conversation, I want to share with you a few hacks to actually help you lock your credit with all three bureaus. So, here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. First of all, it's really important to go back and understand why it is important to lock your credit, because stuff happen. Somebody can steal your identity. You can have a fraudulent credit card. Stuff happens all the time. So if there is an opportunity for you to lock your credit, it's important to really do so. You have to understand, research has shown that people are losing billions of dollars every single year from credit card fraud, bank account fraud, and loan fraud. And so really, it's important, therefore, to monitor your financial accounts, if you will, but also your credit. So it's important. So what I'm talking about here is that when we are speaking about locking your credit with all three bureaus, you still have to actually monitor your financial accounts just to make sure that nobody's actually playing games with your credit or your finances down the road. Okay. So when we talk about monitoring your credit, we're speaking about having a clear idea about what's happening to your TransUnion credit report or credit score, your Experian credit report and credit score, and also your Equifax. So you got to have a clear idea. So this is the trifecta. Now, one thing I want to understand, I want you to understand real clear is that when we talk about monitoring your financial accounts, we are speaking about all kinds of financial accounts, all kinds, including your retirement accounts. So your 401k, your brokerage accounts, if you have a crypto, whatever you have where your finances are affected, you need to really make sure that you are monitoring everything across the board. That's really important. Okay, so into this conversation, I want to share with you. I first want to explain to you what a credit lock is, how it really works, and the warning signs to watch out for, so you know when to take action. And again, we are speaking about taking action on all three credit bureaus. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So now I want to explain to you first what a credit lock is, so we have a clear idea what's really happening here. So a credit lock really is a financial security feature that really blocks unauthorized access to your credit reports. The key word here is unauthorized. In other words, you have transactions that were not authorized by you or by somebody that's that you have commissioned to do so. So when your credit is locked, lenders cannot access your file, and therefore will not be able to extend credit in your name until the file is unlocked. Okay, so you got to go back and really unlock the file for lenders. So we're talking about lenders, credit card providers, and insurance companies, among others, to actually access your file to see what's really happening with your credit, because they have to really first review your credit to make sure everything is fine before they extend credit to you. So this is just a part of the underwriting process. So the thing is that all three credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, offer credit locks to give consumers more control over who can view their credit reports. So what happens here is that you can actually lock your credit reports with just one credit bureau, or with all three, or even two. It depends on the kind of a strategy you have. You can say, you know what, I want to keep my TransUnion open, but I want to lock my Equifax and my Experian. This is totally possible. So when we talk about a credit lock, you have pros and cons for sure. So pros, you have a transaction that prevents scammers from damaging your credit score. If your identity has been stolen, you should lock or freeze your credit immediately before fraudsters run your credit score and financial reputation, your financial reputation takes a toll. And so now it's important to understand that some credit locks cost money. For example, Experian doesn't offer a free credit lock option. So it's important. And what we love about the credit lock is that it gives you more control over your credit files. You can lock and unlock your reports yourself at any time, often with the mobile app. So this flexibility makes it more convenient than a security freeze. if you need to authorize a legitimate credit check, or you have a short notice transaction such as a mortgage or an auto loan, so you have more control. And we love the fact that a credit lock provides peace of mind if you're worried about fraud, if you have already been the victim of identity theft, or let's say recently lost a credit card. A credit lock is a comforting security feature that puts you in control. So that's really cool. So overall, this is a great transaction to have a peace of mind, not only for yourself, but also for your family. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to lock your credit with all three bureaus. I want to talk to you now about when we talk about credit lock, of course, some people are thinking about, is that a credit freeze? Is that a fraud alert? What do we have? Now, those terms are different. Even though they are correlated, they're different. So when we talk about it, when you hear the terms credit lock, credit freeze, or fraud alert, they are totally different. So the terms credit freeze and credit lock are often used interchangeably, yet while they offer similar protections, there are subtle differences. So the main difference between a credit lock and a credit freeze or fraud alert is that you easily turn a credit lock on and off from an app or website. So you have control over here. So you have flexibility. In contrast, a credit freeze or fraud alert requires you to contact each of the relevant credit bureaus to lift the security measures, which often take a few business days to go through. So long story short, when we talk about credit freeze or credit lock, a credit lock actually is faster, but a credit freeze takes longer, okay? So before you choose between a fraud alert, credit freeze, or credit lock, you should really understand how everyone works, okay? So you have a credit lock. It prevents anyone from accessing your credit file. Credit freeze prevents anyone from accessing your credit file also. And fraud alert really is kind of cool. A fraud alert actually warns lenders that they should verify your identity before extending new loans or lines of credit. So there is an extra layer of security here. And we also love the fact that a credit lock actually is a lot easier because it requires an app or enrollment in each credit bureau's program. But that's kind of cool. But you are going to understand that a credit lock actually should take place immediately. And it would really last for 1 year or even more, or until you remove it. It really depends upon the flexibility that you want the whole process to have. So long story short, before you decide, ask yourself, am I looking for a credit lock? Am I looking for a credit freeze? Or do I want a fraud alert? So those terms actually must be clear in your head before you go ahead. And that's going to help. That's going to help you avoid any confusion in the long run. I want to talk to you now about how to lock your credit at all three credit bureaus, right? Not just one, but all three. So first of all, let me talk to you how to lock your credit with Equifax. So Equifax actually offers a free credit lock program called Lock and Alert. So once you have enrolled in the program, you can lock and unlock your credit file on the associated app or via the Equifax website. So everything happens on the website or through an Equifax app that you can download. Okay, but you have to really look for the feature Lock and Alert. So an Equifax credit report lock prevents access to your report and stops anyone from opening new credit accounts. So if you want to apply for credit, you must unlock your report to allow the lenders to make a credit check. And I mean, the lender has to make a credit check. Otherwise, they're not extending credit to you, right? This is the typical underwriting process. Now, you cannot have a freeze and lock on your Equifax credit report at the same time. So if you want to switch from one service to another, you must first remove the current lock or freeze. Okay, so you can't have freeze and lock at the same time. So this is important to understand. Now, when we talk about an Equifax credit lock, the program name is called the Equifax Lock and Alert. Don't forget that. Equifax Lock and Alert. The cost is free. In terms of the accessibility, everything happens via the Equifax website or the official Lock and Alert mobile app. And there are some extra features that you might be interested to know. Basically, this feature this program alerts you when your credit file is locked or unlocked. And you can also gain access to Equifax credit lock using ID Watchdog from Equifax. So ID Watchdog is actually a program from Equifax. So that's really important. So that's for locking your credit with Equifax. Let's talk about how to lock your credit with TransUnion. So this is the second credit agency. So TransUnion's credit lock program is called True Identity. So like the other bureau programs, it is free to use and can be switched on and off quickly on a smartphone or computer. There are a few additional perks to locking your credit your credit with this option. You can access your TransUnion credit report, sign up for free monitoring alerts, and get coverage for up to $25,000 in identity theft insurance. So that's really cool. And TransUnion also offers a premium product, TransUnion Credit Monitoring, that locks your credit reports with both TransUnion and Equifax. But this program is charging you like $29.95 a month. So let me give you an overview of a TransUnion's credit lock. So the program name is called True Identity. The cost is free. You can access or add your TransUnion credit file at any time. And you can add a phrase to your credit report by phone or mail. So this is kind of cool in terms of flexibility. And so when you can lock your TransUnion report with a single swipe or click. And extra features, you can receive free alerts about critical credit information changes, and you get unlimited TransUnion report refreshes. So that's really cool. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to lock your credit with all three bureaus. So I've explained to you how to lock your credit with Equifax, how to lock your credit with TransUnion. Let's talk about how to lock your credit with Experian. So Experian program credit lock is actually offered as part of a larger service, Experian Credit Works Premium. So whereas the other bureaus offer free services, this credit lock costs $24.99 a month. And Experian's program comes with other perks like credit monitoring services for all three bureaus and up to $1 million in identity theft insurance. So you have some extra benefits. That's why they're charging you a little more. Another premium benefit is access to support from a dedicated agent if you become a victim of fraud or identity theft. So that's really the interesting part of this program. Now let me dig a little deeper so you have a clear idea what I'm speaking about. So the program name is Experian Credit Lock from CreditWorks Premium. And the cost is free for 7 days. Then they start charging you $24.99 per month. And in terms of accessibility, you have Experian Credit Locks lets you log into your Experian Credit Works account through any web browser on your desktop or mobile device, or for that matter, the Experian app. And in terms of extra features, you have one-touch credit lock, and you have up to $1 million in identity theft insurance. Of course, you have three bureau credit monitoring. That's really important. And you can really access your updated credit reports and FICO scores from all three credit bureaus every 30 days. So if you accept to pay $24.99, you are going to have like a monthly access to your credit files. And now, Experian's one-click credit lock feature is also included at no additional cost on all on other plans. For example, Aura is another player that you might want to think about. So this is kind of cool. Now let's talk about who can access your locked or frozen credit reports. So what happens here is that we have a very interesting process that happens. So after you lock or freeze your credit reports, only authorized entities conducting background checks can access your reports. For example, card issuers and loan companies need to evaluate your creditworthiness when you apply for loans, lines of credits, credit cards, while employers may want to verify your financial reliability for certain job positions, right? I mean, if you are going to be a cashier, for instance, at a bank, the bank wants to have to know exactly what's really happening with your background. So it's really important to note that locking or freezing your credit doesn't entirely block access to your credit file and won't prevent the negative information from being added to your credit file. So when you place a credit lock, access remains open to the following entities. So you yourself, right? So you can check your credit file, continue accessing credit reports, and get updates on your credit score. So that's really good. Your current creditors and debt collectors will still have access to your credit file. So financial institutions like credit unions or payday loan companies can provide you with a copy of your credit reports or credit score upon your request. You also have mortgage lenders. So mortgage lenders or landlords can review your credit history as part of a rental or a mortgage application process. So as long as you actually apply for something new yourself, certain transaction will have to go through the normal underwriting process. So insurance companies can evaluate your consumer credit reports for underwriting purposes before approving any application for auto or homeowners insurance. Utility companies such as electric or water providers may need to verify your financial reputation before they provide new services or, let's say, adjust your existing contracts. And government agencies, including federal law officers, can view your credit files to conduct background checks for security clearances, court orders, or employment purposes. So this is an important element to think about. Now, the bottom line here is what? The bottom line here is that, of course, you can lock your credit. So basically, you can actually protect yourself from fraud. But there are some legit transactions. They have to go through the underwriting process. And those transactions will have to actually trigger, in some cases, somebody accessing your credit to make sure that you are who you are and that you are of good repute, good financial repute. Now, the bottom line here is that when we talk about a credit lock with all three bureaus or with one bureau or two bureau, it's important to understand that you may need more than a credit lock. I mean, in today's world, everything is complicated. You know, you have fraud every now and then. People are stealing people's data, whatever. You have the dark web. It's kind of crazy out there. So there is actually there is a possibility to actually think about you needing more than a credit lock. So a credit lock is important to protect yourself against fraud. That's for sure. But it's not a foolproof approach, right? It's actually vital to proactively protect yourself against fraud and scams by setting up notifications for, let's say, data breaches and changes to your credit files. And what you want to do also is that you want to secure your devices and accounts from hackers by using two-factor authentication and a virtual private network. So it's kind of cool to have a VPN to make sure that you are actually keeping a few things actually on the wraps, okay? So, but it's important to understand that even the most vigilant person may still fall victim to fraudsters. I mean, you might be listening to me and think, you know what? I think I'm kind of vigilant, but you never know, right? So what you want to do is, if you want to actually have a optimal protection and peace of mind, you want to have a proactive service that monitors your credit, bank accounts, identity, and data. So you want to have an all-in-one service, okay? And so that's kind of cool. And we have actually covered on this show all-in-one solutions that keep you and your family safe from fraud and identity theft by having like access to a 24/7 credit protection, identity monitoring, and digital security. So this is kind of cool. It's important to understand that when we talk about credit protection, identity monitoring, and digital security, we are speaking about not only your credit but also your financial accounts. I think that's how I started to this conversation, by saying that your financial accounts, like, you know, bank accounts, investment accounts, transaction, like all kinds of transaction monitoring processes, that's kind of cool. And if you are lucky, you want to go for a service that actually offers AI-powered scam and spam protection. So because nowadays we have artificial intelligence that's really growing like crazy. And so there are services that use artificial intelligence to screen calls and detect spam text messages. So you are able to stop scammers from getting through to you in the first place. Okay. And also think about having a service that allows you to switch things in off. In other words, you want to keep the flexibility there so that if you change your mind, you can actually go back to to square one, if you will. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I explained to you how to lock your credit with all three bureaus. And let's do a quick recap here. So I gave you the overview, and now I'm doing the recap. As I explained to you how to lock your credit with Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.